On behalf of the EPGP office, I welcome you all to the inauguration of the 12th batch of Executive Postgraduate Program. First of all, a hearty welcome to our chief guest, Ms. Preetha Reddy, Executive Vice Chairperson of Apollo Hospital Group, and EPGP alumnus who has kindly consented to deliver the inaugural address. Mr. Rajat Mathur, Principal, Boston Consulting Group. One second. Joining us from the boardroom are Professor Raghuram, Director IIM Bangalore, Professor Abhay Oja, Dean Programs, Professor Narayan Swamy, Chair Executive Postgraduate Program, and Professor Ashish Mishra, Chair Admissions. Our Chief Administrative Officer also is in the boardroom. With us are Dean Faculty, Dean Administration, Dean Alumni Relations, members of the EPGP Committee, Professor Sabrinathan, the incoming Chair EPGP, faculty members, chief officers and staff, EPGP 2021 batch and their families, and alums who have joined us online. I extend a warm welcome to all of you. We will begin the function by lamp lighting. I invite all the members who are in the boardroom to please light the lamp. Can we please clap a round of applause? I'll unmute all. Now I invite Ms. Purnima Rao for the invocation and an auspicious start to the program.
Nirvignam kuru me deva sarvakaryeshu sarvada. Namo Jyoti Param Jyoti Namo Namo Tejaspurti Namo Jyoti Param Jyoti Namo Namo Tejaspurti Namo Divya Jnana Jyoti Tamo Kaliva Vimalakandi Namo Jyoti Param Jyoti.
Thanks, Purnima. Now I would like to request Professor Ashish Mishra, Chair Admissions, to deliver the welcome address.
IIMB in a digital way. We would have loved to have you here, and hopefully soon you all will be here. Extraordinary times, and it is good to have you all together in this auspicious occasion of starting off EPGP 2021 batch. I'll just give you a little bit of the composition of the batch. Probably all of you will be interested to know that, and that's my job. So totally we had 657 applications, out of which 20% were female candidates. Unfortunately, we could not keep that up for the final offers. So from the final offers, only 10% are ladies. The process is whatever it is. Hopefully, we'll be able to improve it further going into future. So the average experience of the batch is about 7 years, which is a good mix to have, which is the highest is about 11 years and the lowest is about 5 years, so average about 7 years is a good thing. And yeah, as expected, about 85% of the batch are engineers. So that's the pool that you are, and that's the pool that we have to do with. So in spite of the best of the efforts to bring in certain kind of diversity, the academic diversity is something that we are still struggling with. But then that doesn't take anything away from your performance of the batch. Type of jobs, it's a mixture of everything that we are getting over here. Majority of them are from the private sector, followed by public sectors, government, NGOs. We don't have any entrepreneurs in this particular batch. Maybe some of you are interested for it going future. So far as the organization profile, the type of jobs that you people have been doing: manufacturing, engineering, oil, energy and petroleum. These three are the major sectors, which is equivalent to the previous batches also what we have seen. And there is a mixture of things like IT products and services. Other telecom sector, we don't have anything specifically in this particular year. So that is so far as the composition of the batch is concerned. And amazing environment, amazing curriculum, great faculty. You are all aware about it. Nothing more I can say on that. So once again, hearty welcome to all of you to IIMB, to the program EPGP 2021, and my best wishes to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mishra. May I now request Professor Narayan Swamy, Chair EPGP, to address the students.
Good afternoon. You have seen me before. We had a Zoom meeting some time back, so I am not entirely new to you. I am delighted to welcome you to the inauguration of this 12th batch of the EPGP in management, the Institute's prestigious one-year MBA degree program. The EPGP is different from the other programs in the Institute in several ways. For one, the students are more mature and have a clear idea of what to expect from the Institute. They get placed in more senior positions in organizations by virtue of their experience. They continue to be in touch with the Institute after graduation and help us with projects, placement seminars and other events. Your academic schedule will be different in a significant way from that of the batch that graduated this year. You will be attending classes in term 1 online from the comfort of your homes. We are working very hard to make online teaching as effective as in-person teaching. The Institute has high quality infrastructure for conducting online classes. I hope you will enjoy the new experience. I took over as Chair EPGP in 2018, though I have been associated with the program from the first batch onwards. Interacting with EPGP students has always been a pleasant and instructive experience. I hope to have an enjoyable and productive engagement with your class. I will be teaching your financial reporting and analysis class from Friday onwards. Also, I would like to use this occasion to welcome my successor, the incoming chair, Professor G. Sabarinathan, who is not here because of another commitment. I wish him good luck and request you to extend your cooperation to him. And I'll be back tomorrow for the orientation, and we'll have a lot more to tell you. Let me stop here. All the best to you. Good luck.
Thank you, Professor. May I now request Professor Abhay Oja to address the batch?
Namaskar. Oh, namaskara, as they would say in Kannada. Let me begin by congratulating all of you for being selected into this prestigious program. I wish, as Ashish said, we could welcome you in the traditional format on campus. but I think it's great to be in this path-breaking thing. This is the first degree-granting program that is being inaugurated electronically. So you are part of a path-breaking group that is setting new norms for IIMB. Personally, I think you need to be doubly congratulated. Kind of one of the tests of a leader is to be able to act with incomplete information. Okay, a lot of you are coming from roles that largely advisory. You didn't really sit and make the big decisions. Okay, and most of the guys who make the big decisions know that they have to act with incomplete information. Academics like us, we talk a lot, we theorize a lot, we advise a lot, but we never make big decisions. Okay, and so in some sense, you need to be doubly congratulated that you have sort of, in this uncertain environment, been able to bite the bullet and take up the challenge to undergo this program in this context. In some sense, by taking up the challenge, you have put a lot of confidence in us, assurance in us that we will be able to deliver what we are promising despite the uncertain circumstances. And I kind of, as in my role here, I would like to promise you that as an institution, we will put the best possible to make sure that you do not sort of, for whatever it is, for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whenever you have to be off campus and continue your education, you will not, your learning and education will not suffer. Okay? I say this with some confidence because ever since the news of the pandemic broke and in India we started adjusting to this new environment, we were the first off the block in terms of making adjustments to how we conduct our convocation. In fact, other sister institutions kept calling our director to find out what are the procedural changes, what are the changes that we made to go ahead with our convocation in this time. And so, right from replicating the oath, etc., electronically, we did good, and I think other institutions have borrowed from our idea. As some of you might know, that we have at IIMB we have a strong tradition of MOOCs, and we have also been teaching online for quite some time. So we were very quick to move on to online teaching for ongoing courses. The PGPM, the courses were on, we moved online very quickly. There were some executive education courses, we moved online very quickly. So by the time we start teaching you, we have some experience of teaching in this environment. There is lots in the press about some technology being safe, some technology being better, etc., etc. We have a committee which went into all this analysis and made a conscious decision to back Zoom as a technology. And some of us have been undergoing workshops and training, etc., to become more familiar with the Zoom technology. I'm assuming with some lead information, you will also familiarize yourself with Zoom such that you will be able to do the learning well when you are here. Our committee members who are more tech savvy than me and some of us have developed protocols in terms of what to do. So most of us have gone through that workshop, and hopefully we'll come quite well prepared to share information with you, and hopefully you will adhere to the protocols that are given to you to make the learning experience better. So one of the protocols is to be on mute when you are not speaking, otherwise we can hear kids in the background. Okay. Now, as Professor Narayan Swamy said, I will also meet you as a faculty member this Friday, teaching one of the courses. Today I am here as Dean's program, okay, and sort of, hopefully you will not see me in this role. If all goes well, there is no need for you and us to engage in my role as a Dean program. You are, of course, Professor Sabinathan would be taking over in the role of Professor Narayan Swamy very soon, and Shilpa, who is conducting the show today, is the officer who you will deal with most often. I should say that she brings a good combination of care and firmness. Sort of you will experience both of that, and that kind of helps us and the institution sort of be both caring and sort of ensure things move smoothly. Okay, so I think you're going to be in safe hands when you are offline, and when you come on campus also you'll find Shilpa sort of making sure that you have the best experience here. Okay. Now I have to say something, so I have 3 pieces of advice, and this is sort of based on what I have been saying in the last few inaugurations. So for some of you who might have heard me in another format, it's a repeat. But the first thing I caution people with sort of 7 to 10 years of seniority when they are coming into an educational institution is to kind of remind themselves that you're coming back as a student. Okay? That slip, that transition is not necessarily easy. Some of you would have made that transition in your mind that, okay, I have had this wonderful career for the last 7, 8 years, demanding things and telling people what to do, etc., etc. Now I have to slip into this role where there's somebody else who's going to tell me what to do and listen. Okay? It's not easy unless and until you think about it. It's not very easy. We will, just by the nature of our program, put a lot of hurdles in your path, get you to do this, get you to do that. And some of it will be, I think, painful till you get adjusted. So I just like you to reflect before you start classes that you are not coming here as a customer per se and put us in a position of a service provider. We are educators. We are sharing knowledge. We are preparing you and enabling you for the future. And in the process of doing that, we might not treat you like a customer. We might demand certain things from you, and you will appreciate that at the end of the year when you are graduating. But in the process, there might be some sort of pain, and I would kind of ask you to kind of program your mind to get used to that. Okay? The second piece of advice is you are adults and you would want to be treated as adults, and IIMB and the EPGP office will definitely try to treat you like adults. But we will also expect certain responsible behavior from you that we expect from adults. And so in some sense it will be, if you all adhere to all the institutional guidelines, etc., there will be very little need for us to sort of impose discipline or follow up, etc., etc. And I just think again that some of you might experience the campus as very liberal, very permissive, etc., etc. But I would urge you to think twice before you test the boundaries of what is allowed and what is not allowed. It will just make life for us easier if you adhere within the guidelines. And let me assure you that at least there will be no concessions on those things if ever a decision comes to the dean's office. Okay, so I will kind of operate pretty black and white if I see a violation. Don't sort of come back and say that I didn't know this, I didn't know that. In the induction program, you will be sensitized to some of the things that IIMB considers important, and it would be helpful that you pay attention to those things tomorrow when that happens. My third piece of advice, the last one, is again, a lot of you will join the program with a lot of expectations, rightfully so. But you must just find that you are part of such a talented group that when you look left and right, you find on some dimensions some of your colleagues are better than you. Some of your colleagues seem to perform better than you, despite all the efforts you put in. Some of these complexities are going to be even more severe in this context, where we are learning how to teach online, you are learning how to learn online, and there's potentially going to be some stress. Okay? Again, I'm flagging off this. There might be some stress. Be alert to that. Let us know, let the chair know, let Shilpa know, because at IIMB we have some facilities to sort of deal with this. We know some of the potential things that can happen. We will be able to advise you deal with it, cope with it, and even let you know that some of what you might be feeling is not uncommon, and we definitely have ways and means of getting you out of that stress and getting you to focus on learning and your career. Okay? So I could do more advice, but I'm going to stop now, and I'm sure that our relationships will benefit. You will, despite these conditions, you will benefit from the program, and you will sort of graduate with flying colors and be great ambassadors for the program in the future. Okay. With that, I'll stop. Good luck and welcome once again.
May I now invite Professor Kumar, Dean Alumni Relations and Development, to address the students.
Hi, very good afternoon to all of you, and a very hearty welcome to IIMB. I join others who spoke before me in congratulating you on your successful admission to this program, and also very heartily welcome you to this wonderful experience for the next 1 year. Obviously, I'll be meeting you a couple of days from now when I take the first session for you on Saturday. I've already started corresponding with you. I sent you a mail today. I fully endorse whatever Professor Abhay has been saying in terms of this is going to be a very short, sweet year for you. The year is going to fly by very fast. And as he said, you're going to transition back into a classroom, into a student's role after the hectic 7 or 8 years on average which you have spent in the corporate world. It's going to be a different world. It's going to be new experiences. Some of it you will sort of reliving from your earlier student days. Some part of the experience is going to be absolutely new. And the sooner you come to the campus, that will also add another dimension to your life during this 1 year. So all put together, I think it's going to be a very exciting time for all of you. And from our side, I echo what Professor Narayan Swamy said earlier. We always keep looking forward to interacting with a batch of EPGP for the sheer reason that you all come with a wealth of industry experience. You have gone out and experienced the world, the professional world. You also have your own anchors in terms of what you want, what you aspire to do. And not only that, this is an opportunity for us also to learn as much from you as we think that we will be imparting education to you. So in that sense, the EPGP is a very, very special program for all of us, and we always look forward to meeting you. At least I have also been teaching this program right from its inception. I have found these interactions to be extremely rewarding, and I always look forward to these sessions. So without much ado, I again welcome you all to the program, and I hope you will have a wonderful time. We'll start off online, but then hopefully we'll see that you'll be back in the campus pretty soon, and we'll all meet face to face and then carry on the learning. Okay? Welcome once again. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Professor. May I now request Professor Raghuram to address the batch?
Hi, good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to IIM Bangalore. Normally, I would have said welcome to this beautiful campus, but we'll sort of let it pass for now, and hopefully that will happen sooner than later. I think this is history in the making. First time that we are starting off a program on online inauguration. I think online orientation, whatever that would mean, because I'm sure our colleagues have thought through, in the online format, what are different elements of how you are onboarded, and then of course how the classes itself will happen. Of course, IIM Bangalore has prior experience, both what you will be undergoing as synchronous learning, where the faculty is present during the engagement, but online. I think they have also, as part of preparatory, done a MOOC. You have done so. IIM Bangalore is also known for what we call as the asynchronous learning, where faculty in a thought out manner have pre-recorded course content and also made it more learning friendly. So that's the other digital mode. So IIM Bangalore has experience in both of these. Though I think for us, we had to go through the thought process of how exactly we're going to onboard the EPGP in the online mode. So I wish you well, as also I wish our colleagues well in maximizing the learning effectiveness in this mode. Of course, people are wondering whether this will be the new normal after hopefully the COVID situation passes on. I think to the extent that both from the faculty side and the student side, if there were mental barriers against this digital engagement of learning, I think that to a large extent will be taken care of, because in a sense we are forced into this situation, and therefore I think in programs there will be greater dependence or greater involvement of the digital mode. However, personally, I think especially in a transformational program, which we believe the EPGP to be, where in 1 year you will see how your own approach to thinking, your own approach to how you look at problems, how you would think of solutions out of the box, how you would analyze to come up with appropriate recommendations, how they should get implemented. All these thought processes will undergo a quantum change in the right direction, and that's what this program fundamentally does. Apart from, of course, helping you learn better insights into the balance sheet, or better insights into what marketing is all about, but the ability to think critically, that's the fundamental. So that transformational part, personal belief is best achieved in direct personal engagement, where body language is part of it, where interaction amongst participants is part of it. Maybe with better software, with better features in the software, better equipment, we would be inching closer towards what learning value we get in the personal interaction. But there possibly would still be a difference. That difference would be less in subjects where the questions are more of a what kind, where you are learning the content per se. I think that differential in my assessment would be less. But in courses where you need to think critically, challenge the ideas, maybe the differential between the in-class and what happens in this form of engagement. But I think over the year we will have plenty of time to make good those differences, if at all they would affect. I hope not. So I think it's a tremendous learning experience for us and for you. In fact, I've been saying that one thing that quality institutions like IIM Bangalore do is to prepare our students to be able to take on uncertainties. Often many of you would have heard about a VUCA word, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, whatever. This is about as much of a VUCA as it can be. But to me, that's not important. I think what is important is, do we have our antennae up all the time in sensing this VUCA? and developing our responses. And I think that's exactly what programs like EPGP prepare us for. So whatever COVID, post-COVID, recession, how the economy is going to get back into shape, I think you're all going to be great sort of contributors to, you know, whatever that environment would be. By the way, I must also welcome, I think there are at least about 10 faculty who are signed on along with all the participants, and you know, my welcome to the faculty also, and the staff who are supporting. You know, I mean, they play a very important role, though very often in the back office, right from Shilpa, her team, our IT team. So I think we must be conscious about their efforts. I was looking at your profile, and as Professor Ashish had already mentioned, but you know, actually, though we have this issue of engineers and non-engineers, and definitely one would like to see a higher share of non-engineers, for whatever reason, I think today in India, I would say engineering education in many ways has also become a fundamental. And I think across engineering, there is diversity. The different disciplines within engineering and the different aspirations that this so-called fundamental undergraduate, you know, called engineering, which I think out of, you know, about 60 of you have gone through it, but I would hope that diversity is brought in even in the way the way you have gone through your disciplines, your own backgrounds, and so on. So anyway, that's on the discipline side. Of course, I do share on the gender issue, but you know, I think in our 2-year program, we've been able to make inroads. I think again, partly or maybe largely due to the broader environment. I think the larger environment, you know, parents, their encouragement, a lot of that is happening, and therefore I think more women are coming in. We are getting even close to, you know, anywhere in the 35 to 40% proportion there. But I wonder, and maybe it is something for all of you all to also think, that why in organizations, in some sense, this growth and aspiration sort of seems to be more male dominated. So, but having said that, another form of diversity, I think, is the nature of organization from which you all come. And I see a wonderful diversity there between public sector and private sector, and within private sector, multinationals and the Indian private sector. And I think in terms of how these organizations think, or what is their intrinsic culture, I think you would be bringing in a very valuable diversity into the classroom. And that is why, you know, I'm not surprised that faculty love to teach in this program, because every session or at the end of every course, you know, most faculty or well-meaning faculty in institutions of this kind, one of the questions they should be asking themselves is, what did they learn at the end of a session or at the end of a course? And I think with an audience like yours, the positive value they derive is very significant. Yeah, so I think, you know, the other reason why this program is extremely well placed, you know, apart from the fact that in spite of whatever 6, 7, 8, 10 years of work experience that you all would be having, the fact that your hunger for learning, that you're giving up a year of your career to come into a classroom itself, you know, is a fundamental that speaks for the kind of engagement that we would expect. Many of you would have families, and therefore there is a juggling in terms of being able to manage the education and the family. Maybe you're looking for accelerating your career. Maybe you're looking at changing a domain. But the fact that you all have a greater clarity with the opportunity cost that you are undergoing is a tremendous plus for this program. Finally, I've been asked many times, what are some of the aspects in the post-COVID world that organizations have to be sort of gearing themselves for? Some thoughts. One, I think, is our ability to work in teams and engaging teams, which possibly in the IT world and also maybe globally spread out organizations, some of this learning has already happened, where you're geographically spread, you're connected spatially rather than being together. That would probably be more and more, we would have to be forming teams that way. In fact, one of the important things that this program gets people is how do you work in teams, right? A lot of assignments would be group oriented. I think at least in the first term, your teams again are going to be online teams, and that's, so I think our ability to work in this manner is one fundamental learning that organizations will have to leverage and facilitate. The second could be productivity. I mean, apart from productivity in such teams, if this post-COVID scenario continues for some time, the fact that social distancing and reduced sort of person power in organizations, can I still get the same output? That's going to be important. And how do systems, processes, protocols, or even creative thinking of job definitions, so how do I get the productivity? And not only in an office environment, it's going to be true in a manufacturing environment too. And I guess the third thing that comes out of these is performance assessments. How am I going to assess people's performance? A lot of performance assessments will have to change, or approach to it. Well, I think at least those are some immediate sort of thoughts I have as to how the organizations may have to prepare themselves in the post-COVID world. But with that, let me wish you all the best, and thank you for choosing IIMB for this educational journey. I'll just end on the note that our motto, as you would have seen in our logo, is Tejas Vinavadhitamastu. What it simply translates to is, let our study be enlightening. So of course in the Sanskrit, grammatically, if you are aware, there is a singular and a dual and a plural. So this Tejasvi now, that's a dual. So there are two parties, and the two parties are in some sense on two sides of the table, and their study should become as enlightening as possible. And that's really the sort of broad motto that drives IIM Bangalore. And therefore, wish you all the best, not only for your learning journey, but for enabling our learning too. Thank you.
For your encouraging words. May I now request Colonel Arvindan, the Chief Administrative Officer, to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Colonel Arvindan. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer of IIM Bangalore. A warm welcome to everyone for the new batch, EPGP batch 2021. We will be involved with you right from wherever you people are going to move to the accommodation which is earmarked presently for you. We are in touch with the association there, and we are tying up with at the earliest time when some of you who don't have the internet bandwidths or are in a situation where you require to probably vacate your accommodation and move in here, we are in touch with them. Let us see, about the earliest time frame when we will be able to accommodate some of you in. But other than that, probably your next semester onward, probably in September, probably we would like to have all of you on board here. And every step of your way, right from your accommodation to commute, to all your food arrangements, and all arrangements for your conduct of classes, for everything we will be involved in every part of your life here. And I will always be there available with you for any kind of coordination for any of your events. Some of your events you people get conducted, which we are majorly involved in, getting, all the support done for you. And we'll always be there to support and ensure that all the events which you people are going to take part in the institute here, include from your learning to all your administrative requirements, all the programs other than your teaching, other than your learning experience which you will conduct here, everything we will be there to support you. So from the side of administration, we are a very, very large team, and we would like to extend a very, very warm welcome to all of you, and hope you have a great learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I now request Professor Narayan Swamy, to ask the faculty members who have joined us to say a few words.
On behalf of the entire administration, I a warm welcome to all of you. Arvind already mentioned about the administrative support. I am sure that the entire team is looking for your physical presence as quickly as possible, and I look forward maybe teaching some of the elective courses at a later point of time. Welcome to IIM Bangalore. Thank you.
Professor Ritu Tripathi, would you like to say a few words?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So in classroom language, this is called cold calling, what Professor Narayan Swamy just did to me. And welcome, everyone. And I don't see you until July. I teach a course called Managing People and Performance in Organizations in term 2. And then I have my electives in term 4, term 6, focusing on cross-cultural management. So look forward to having you over whenever the situation is better. But for now, let's make the most of this online mode, which has all kinds of innovations and excitement associated with it. Okay, so this is another, I think we are creating history, we are part of history, and this is one way that we are going forward. So welcome, everyone.
So welcome, everybody. I'm Preetha Das. So I'll be teaching managerial economics, and I'll be starting teaching this Saturday onwards. So I'll see all of you Saturday morning. I'm really looking forward for a very exciting sessions, and I welcome all of you again, and good luck to IIM Bangalore. Okay.
Thank you very much, Professor Narayan Swamy. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all the EPGP students, and I echo what my other colleagues have already spoken about the program. It is one of the most popular programs as far as faculty are concerned, and that is because of the rich experience that the EPGP students bring into the classroom. All of us are really looking forward. This year is probably going to be interesting because at least some of the classes are going to be online. We are all excited. It's a new journey, and we look forward to interacting with all of you. Welcome. Thank you.
A very good afternoon and a very warm welcome to all the EPGP participants. I am Varun. I have joined very recently, and I also became the first. I became the first faculty member to join electronically, and believe me, the transition has been smooth. So I think you will also experience a very smooth and hassle-free transition. Although I'll not be taking any courses for you, but I think we will interact hopefully in one way or the other. So all the very best, and I look forward to meeting you all very soon.
My favorite alumni from IIM Bangalore from EPGP. Well, just thought I'll give you some idea of what they're doing. Might just give you some ideas of about your own career. One of them is Mukesh Sharma, who joined us in the first batch from Maruti Suzuki. After doing EPGP, he decided to use his international exposure to good advantage, but in a different sector. He started working in the software industry, and today he heads Tech Mahindra's business in China and is a director on the Tech Mahindra China board. He also leads a lot of the alumni initiatives in China and Asia. So he's one of the guys I've really seen who's had a very significant international role after completing EPGP and has done very well. Another close friend of mine from EPGP from the same batch, Alok Khanna. He was again from the first batch of EPGP. He came with a finance background, but then he wanted to do something in the area of skills development. So after graduating from EPGP, that's where he's focused during the last 10 years. And he's been doing some really interesting work on creating skills development programs. So I think there's a huge spectrum in which EPG participants have been making a good positive impact. And I'm looking forward to all of you also making a similar impact both during the program and after you complete. So welcome and look forward to interacting with you. Thank you.
We are joined by Ms. Preetha Reddy, Executive Vice Chairperson of the Apollo Hospitals Group. Welcome, ma'am. Ms. Preetha Reddy is widely recognized for her contributions in making high-quality healthcare accessible for millions across the country, and also for her support to various entities and industry bodies working for the betterment of India. Apollo Hospitals is acclaimed as the pioneer of private healthcare in India and the country's first corporate hospital, and is also the Asia's foremost integrated healthcare provider. In addition to her responsibilities at Apollo Hospitals, she works with the industry bodies and the Government of India to advance policy decisions on healthcare. Committed to service, Ms. Preetha Reddy provides leadership and directions to several social projects like Sachi, which support diagnostics and treatment of underprivileged children ailing with congenital heart diseases. She was conferred the ABLF Award for Business Courage by the Asian Business Leaders Forum, Dubai, and she's a recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award for Distinguished Service in the field of social science, conferred by the Loyola Forum for Historical Research, and was awarded NHRD and People CEO Awards Women Leadership by the National HRD Network. Ms. Preetha Reddy holds a bachelor's degree in science and a master's in public administration. She was conferred the degree of Doctor of Science by the Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University in recognition of her outstanding work in the field of healthcare. We are indeed delighted and honored to have you, ma'am, address our 12th batch of EPGP students. And I extend a warm welcome.
Thank you, Shilpa, and all the distinguished faculties. I just listened to Professor Raghuram. There is Professor Narayan Swamy and Professor Mishra, Professor Aboy. I hope you're all there, and Mr. Rajat Mathur. It's just a pleasure to be on this and just listening to some of you, and more than anything else, I think it's an honor to speak to the future of India, to speak to the future of the world. And I think it's programs like what IIM is doing. We ourselves have among our team members a lot of students from who passed out of IIM. So to all of you, thank you for being part of this wonderful program. And I must admit that you are literally the future of our country. You are among the brightest minds of our glorious nation and the wealth of our collective tomorrow. Welcome again to all the students, and thank you for the invitation to have me here. Again, as I was saying, thank you for inviting me. And I must confess that I'm somebody who did not go to business school. We come from an extremely traditional Andhra family. My father came back from the US to serve the nation and started this enterprise only with his patients in mind. He could not save a patient who could not go to the US in time, and then said that our country needs, healthcare of these standards, and worked very hard to set up Apollo hospitals, the first one, and then the others. But what is heartening is that, one enterprise has now raised the bar, raised the standards of how healthcare is delivered in India. And I think that is really what change, what passion, what focus is all about. And we are continuously living in a transformational world. Continuous change is going to be the new normal. We've all heard it. And right now, we've experienced it. We've experienced what it is, what in books and textbooks we learn about the VUCA world. We've heard about how everything can be absolutely thrown out of gear, and we will be held, we literally, what happens if you dive off the deep side and you don't know how to swim? And this is, again, this is the kind of circumstance all of us are living with. And some of us have experience of running companies. Some of us have gone to, fantastic business schools like all of you. We've had some amazing teachers who've really instilled fabulous values, who've told us what there is to learn. They've taught us how to cope. But I don't think anything anyone has heard or learned, either in, at Stanford or Harvard or at the IIMs, have really taught us to be able to cope with what we see today. I must say that, in this context, that our country, it makes me proud to be an Indian, because when we look at global data, when we interact with institutions globally, whether they're research institutions, whether they're governments, whether they're people working in the healthcare sector, India stands out tall. For 1.3 billion population, with the kind of disease which is really overwhelming the world, engulfing societies, we have really done very well. And I think that has come because of the courage leadership had, because of the courage each state had to say, okay, this has happened and let us fight it, let us bring in certain very, very draconian norms, but we will do it with the intention that people are safe and people are well. So when something is done, not with an intent of personal benefit or personal greatness, but if it is done with an intent of serving humanity, I think that is really what holds the world in good stead. So if there is a new learning, I think the norms which earlier what we all learned when we were starting off as businesses has completely changed. We've moved from an era of capitalism. We've moved from an era of bottom line. We've moved from an era of P&Ls, and now we've come to an era of sustainability, of responsibility. How do we really work to give back to society? There have been some phenomenal examples of late. Auto manufacturers, despite the losses they're facing, they geared up to manufacture ventilators. I mean, would anyone ever think of, auto manufacturers manufacturing ventilators? It was not about, doing something because let's change my product line. It was about giving back to society. Hotel chains and corporations turned empty rooms into quarantine facilities. Again, a thought of giving back to society, but innovation also. To address the absence of school students, BYJU'S made their entire curriculum free for students, but they filled in the gap and they reached out to students. Again, new models of responsible capitalism. The NGOs jumped in throughout the country to make reusable masks. Otherwise, we would have had a problem on our hands, but that happened. Corporate chains and corporate captains have been taking pay cuts, and even the entertainment industry has gone out to support. And that again has been generosity, has been responsible capitalism again. You know, a few days ago, I saw Tim Cook and a video message, and to the students at that time, now in fact, he said, think anew and act anew. And I would like to say now that we probably need to share anew, because we need to share what we have and we need to share the knowledge we have learned. So from a traditional learning, we have to change into innovative learning. We have to see in this completely dynamic universe, how can we learn and how can we do something totally differently? And sometimes it's good to think about somebody like Jack Ma. And he said, and this was addressed to youngsters and to the students, and he said, before you turn 20 years old, just be a good student. Just try and learn and get experience. Before you turn 30, follow somebody. Learn from a company, learn from a great teacher, but follow somebody. Don't think you know everyone, because a good boss will have something to teach you. Between 30 and 40, you need to think clearly whether you want to work for yourself, or you really want to be an entrepreneur, or you want to be part of a large corporation. But I think between 30 and 40 is when we make choices. But between 40 and 50, we have to focus on everything we are good at. By now, we should have learned, and between 40 and 50 is a time to focus and give back and do what we have to do. And it's not the time to jump in again into new areas unless there are circumstances which have happened to us now. And in the 60s, we have to rethink about the way we have to deliver on our businesses. So I think some of the thinkings which we have grown up with might have changed. But what we need to be is resilience really talks about how quickly can we adapt to change. And that's probably one of the greatest learnings which has happened in the past 3 months. So my advice, and from what I have experienced in the past 2 months, is that please be adaptive to change. Please be able to share your knowledge, and please absorb learnings from everywhere else. But more than anything else, I think the courage. You know, we have to stay brave and we have to stay strong, because many others, if we feel that we are losing out or we are frightened, there are others who are at much worse a situation. So I think if we can really figure out new ways to run our existing businesses, I think we will be able to do extremely well. And some, you know, there's some fantastic green shoots which are coming out, and I'd like to just you know, talk about some of them. Did we even think that e-learning, especially starting from school and all the way to college, would now become the norm? We did not. Did we really think that in a very traditional society, people will adopt quickly to telemedicine? I never thought it will happen. But as we speak, on a daily basis, we are doing about 3,000 teleconsults, not only for India, but for some of the neighboring countries. And as far as Greenland, and it's amazing what, you know, Indian talent can really do. Did we think that the National Genomic Mission would become so strong that going in not too distant future, that genomics would become, you know, genetic screening would become a norm for our country? It will, and mark my words that each one of us will know about our gene mapping. So I'm just saying that, you know, so many things are evolving from this, this terrible pandemic which we have gone through. And this to me is probably the big sick elephant in the room. But then we can nurture the big sick elephant and really make it out of the room. So what I'm trying to say is that we really have to overcome. And all of us adopting a certain amount of discipline is so important. People have spoken about, you know, the World War, and August marks the 75th anniversary of World War II. So now, what is World War III? World War III doesn't have to be fought at the front lines anymore. World War III seems to be fought in everyone's homes, in outside, in the open, in the way we do things. And the situation really is so scary that we're not able to anticipate what we're, you know, what we're going to be facing even tomorrow. We as an institution today are taking care of, you know, COVID-stricken patients of about 1,500. Our emergency rooms and our staff in the emergency rooms are now working 24/7, triaging patients. In such situations, the learning has been that there is no hierarchy. You know, everybody works together as a team. And I heard, you know, the Honorable Professor saying that the new norm is that people will learn to work in teams and that the hierarchy won't be as important as and as distinctive as it used to be, because everybody has to contribute. Similarly, if we're bringing out a new product, you know, our country has brought out in 7 days an app for every Indian called Arogya Setu. And it is truly world class. It was done with the government and public-private partnership. And it came out in 7 days. Never has something like that happened. Vaccines, which will normally take 5 years, are going to happen in 1 year. Because people are working as teams. People are working on the war front and trying to see what can we do quickly, because humanity needs it at large. So the learning is here that, you know, it's about humanity, and it's about how we can deliver high class, high quality, and deliver quickly. And that has been a fantastic learning of late. Again, we've heard about Make in India for a long time now. We've heard it for years. But to me, Make in India, just because of what has happened, has actually become a reality. There is, you know, wherever there is tragedy, I guess there is opportunity also. So if there is one single opportunity to give back to society, to build businesses again, to rebuild, to reboot, it's to look at how can we as a country become a superpower in manufacturing, in manufacturing of products which are so intelligent and so fine that the rest of the world will want them from India. Can we become the AI hub? Because there is, number one, we have volume. Number two, we are English speaking. Number three, that we have great intelligent minds. Can we really use artificial intelligence and machine learning to come back quicker, faster, be more agile, and do things? Because, you know, there is no question of, you know, 24 hours itself doesn't exist. Everything now is moving by the second and by the minutes. So we are judged not by every quarter on quarter with business. We're judged by week on week about how we deliver on new products, on new thoughts, and how we deliver on things going forward. So I think we have to really change the way we are functioning, and COVID-19 has brought that to us. So, you know, despite the fact that it has wiped out nations economically, despite the fact that 100 days ago, IMF gave such a rosy picture on the world economy, all that has been thrown out of the window. But again, we have to resurrect ourselves. There has to be a resurgence. And I think that is what we're looking at in the future. Life after lockdown is going to be different. Our old traditional ways of doing things may not happen. But we have to change also. Yesterday, oil defined power. Today, e-learning is power. Yesterday, hierarchy was the model. Today, synergy is the mandate. Yesterday, leaders commanded and controlled. But today, leaders like all of you, teachers like all of you, empower and coach. Yesterday, shareholders came first. All of us as companies, ran our companies because of shareholders. Today, humanity comes first. And you heard the examples of how even automakers have changed to making ventilators. Again, yesterday, employees took orders. Today, the teams make decisions. Yesterday, seniority defined status. Today, creativity drives status. Yesterday, production determined availability. Today, innovation determines demand. Yesterday, value was extra. Today, value is everything. Yesterday, everyone was a competitor, but today, everyone is a partner. Everyone is a customer. And of course, yesterday, profits were earned through expediency. Today, service comes first. And I think service is probably the greatest profit which will come for humanity. And this was, came out of brainstorming with my team, with everybody who worked together, because everyone's been working 24/7. And at Apollo, we came out with a project Coverage, which again is about Apollo 24/7. So we reached out to almost 2 million people, trying to tell them about symptoms, trying to tell them, to be forewarned is forearmed. And from that was born the government's Arogya Setu. Then we did telemedicine and then worked with the government and in the next. So I was just talking about, how we are trying to cope with the situation and what life after lockdown is really going to look for us. And I think the months ahead are going to be quite volatile and challenging. And the words like new normal, next normal, all have become cliches. And I don't see anything really changing except for the fact that we mentally would have changed, we would have shifted our way of thinking, and we're going to begin to work in a completely different environment. The young Indian, and this is for all the students, like each of you must prepare for this, find opportunities in this and take on the onus to build your career and take your country to newer heights. There are multiple opportunities which are very different from what we had earlier, but they are there, opportunities are there, and we have to look at it. Maybe we will write a new chapter in history. Maybe this is a time where we have a white page and we will do something completely different. And to me, I think the sky is not really your limit. While we observed the lockdown, it restricted several activities. We published a handbook for the way our business functions, which again was the life after lockdown, handbook. And most businesses will be doing this, and this I think will be valuable information for everyone. But please don't cage your ambition. This is just a phase and it is worrisome. You may be anxious, but don't cage your ambition, because India's potential is huge. And I think from this we will resurrect and we will be bigger and stronger. I belong to, one of Asia's healthcare families, and I'm proud to be part of this family. We were 4 daughters who just joined the business without any training in whatsoever in business. But we came in because we saw our father working and we were free labor. But today we are blessed because the family is about 80,000 members, and more than anything else, about 10,000 plus highly qualified clinicians who work every day to make a difference in people's lives. And that hasn't changed. Often people imagine that healthcare is just about doctors who they see in hospitals. But in reality, healthcare is one of India's largest sectors, both in terms of employment and in terms of the service it gives. It comprises of hospitals, medical devices, clinical training, outsourcing, telemedicine, medical tourism at one time, health insurance, medical equipment, and a lot more of tech-enabled facets at this present. But I see that going forward, the industry will grow and there will be more on research. There will be more on new ways of handling healthcare. There will be the point of care which will shift from hospitals to people's home. The challenge will be, and the service delivery will be, about keeping people away from hospitals and delivering healthcare at home. To me, while it looks like a challenge at this moment, it's a large and a huge opportunity to serve people, because taking healthcare to the doorstep, making healthcare totally affordable, making it completely cost effective is something which we're all committed to doing. Again, as I said earlier, India has a competitive advantage in the healthcare field because well-trained medical professionals, not only working in India, but working in centers throughout the world. And then there was a concern that, our GDP is going to drop. But right now, only 1.3% is what the government is spending on healthcare. And we see that the healthcare spend is going to go up, and it's going to be a huge opportunity for for going forward. And we have to do it well. We have to be socially responsible, and we have to do it ethically. And I think that is important. And this situation has taught us to be able to deliver healthcare at absolutely negligible prices. We used to pride ourselves at being able to deliver healthcare at 1/10 the cost, but today I think we can do it at even less. We can do it at 2% of the cost of healthcare delivered globally. We can reach out 10 times faster, quicker to people at their doorsteps than anywhere else in the world, and be able to deliver responsible healthcare. And I think these are the innovations which have happened in our country. And I'm so proud to be an Indian and being able to do that. Organizations have to be passionate and they have to be pioneering. And the passion and the pioneering energy now doesn't only come from leadership anymore. I think each one of us working, whether it's a teaching institution, which you all belong to, whether it's a caring institution, which I belong to, whether it's an institution which is, building or manufacturing, the passion has to come from each one of the individuals who are working in that. And I think that will happen because India by nature is a very giving society. Indians by nature are wonderful with learning and imparting knowledge. And I think that will hold us in good stead in the future. Almost every day, technology is ushering something new, not only for healthcare, but for every aspect of our lives. And we will see that, if I can talk to you holding something from my palm, I can make a difference in people's lives also from this very same gadget. And I think that is the power of technology. That is the power of innovation. And as I said earlier, AI and ML will not only make a difference in the way healthcare is delivered, it will make a difference on how we teach. There is an organization which uses AI, I read today, to help people do their exams better, to find out where their weakness is, to train them better. So I think, the opportunities are mind-boggling. When I was a student, we used to spend a lot of time in the library because we had to give up, projects, and we had to spend hours trying to find data. Today, we can find data, we can find information in a flash of a second. But if you use that information and you say this much of my brain power, this much of my time is available, then we can go back and think how much more we can do. So I think age actually, while I said earlier that, age at 60, we should probably not do too much. And I think at 60, we should start learning again. In our 40s, we should start doing things new and different all over again, because there is so much happening with the technology or the world around us. And if we don't pick up, if we are not open to absorbing and learning, then the world might leave us behind. And I think that would be one of the saddest things that can happen to mankind. And as I conclude, I'd like to say a new world, a new consumer, and a new employee is emerging. It is today pointless to fight change. One needs to see the opportunity in a crisis to reinvent oneself, or the startup idea in business, to do that and to do it well. As participants of the world of business, we have to equip ourselves to deal with its VUCA characteristics. And we all know and we all understand that. I'd like to quote Churchill at this time, because his words which he said at that time is so relevant now. And he said, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that actually counts. And I think we have to have that faith and continue. That is how we can go forward. Before I conclude, I'd like to say that health is your real wealth. And I do wish you all good health. So keep an eye on the waistline, along with any company's bottom line, because once you're healthy, you can perform so much better. May you stay safe, may you be happy, and may you be super successful in the future. God bless all of you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to all of you. And it has been a pleasure even putting my thoughts together and listening and interacting with all of you.
Ma'am, we are grateful to you for taking time off in the midst of these chaotic times. I'm sure you have lots and lots of meetings. So I'm sure taking time off was not easy. We also would like to utilize the occasion to thank all the healthcare workers in your hospital. Actually, I know how hard they work because my daughter herself is an oncologist in Apollo across the road. So I know how serious the doctors are about treating the patients, how kind and considerate they are. Not only doctors, but also nursing staff, support staff, and so on. They are all working extremely hard. So we would like to thank all of them on this occasion. And Apollo is, to my knowledge, the first healthcare startup in India. There was no private sector healthcare model available to Dr. Preetha Reddy to start in the 1980s when Apollo came up. So it was actually from a clean slate that he had imagined what a company would look like, because the only models available were government hospitals, which were not exactly what Apollo was trying to replicate. So Apollo is an extremely successful hospital, and I have myself in my family, quite a few have gone to Apollo and been immensely happy about the treatment and care they got. And therefore we are particularly delighted to see you here, because to us, you and your family represent all that is the best about Apollo Hospital, the Apollo Hospital Group. So we are particularly grateful to you for coming and addressing our students. And I'm sure the students will take your words very seriously. I think you also packaged quite a lot of punch in your address and nice words. You, I think, told them also that life is not going to be easy. I don't know how many got that message. So I'm sure they picked up that message. Hope they picked up the message as well. So you have to work, but at the end anyway, I'm sure people can claim success having worked for it. So thanks again for your taking time off and extremely useful.
Thank you, Professor. It's, I really miss being there on your campus, but thank you for all your kind words and your good wishes. I will convey that to everyone. And I didn't really want to frighten anyone because we're all frontline workers and we're seeing the world as it is.
May I now request Mr. Rajat Mathur, alumnus of the EPGP 2013, that is batch 4, to join us for a special address. Rajat has over 14 years of strategy consulting, strategic and advanced analytics, data science, leadership experience, and holds an MBA from IIM Bangalore EPGP. During his tenure, he has worked for Fortune 500 clients across entertainment and media, financial services, FMCG, healthcare, insurance, retail, and telecom. I request him to join us, please.
Sure, thank you. So, first of all, thank you, Professor Narayan Swamy and the entire EPGP faculty for giving me an opportunity. Frankly, I always look forward to come to the campus, and when Professor Narayan Swamy reached out, I said, yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, it's a good opportunity to come back to the campus. So thank you, sir, for that opportunity. Class of 2021, congratulations on your admit. Welcome to IIM Bangalore. It's a fantastic place, and sure, you're going to have a run of your life for 1 year. What I'm going to do is that I'll just take a minute just to introduce myself. I know Shilpa has already given a formal introduction, but I'll just quickly cover a few points about myself. In the next few minutes, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how has been my journey at EPGP during my campus time. Of course, I totally understand you guys are going through a different phase, but still I like to share as what worked and what it's like to be a student, and how can you work to take the best from EPGP or IIM Bangalore. Then perhaps I'll switch gears and move towards how you can leverage this knowledge, this experience to become a better manager and subsequently become a better leader as well, right? And in the end, I'll just conclude with any Q&A, like to make it a little bit interactive. I know it's been an afternoon and you guys are excited, but I still want to make it hear some thoughts from you. Any questions, any thoughts that you have, happy to take them from you guys. So very quickly, Shilpa said, come with about 14-15 years of out-and-out management consulting experience. Before joining EPGP, I was a management consultant, and after EPGP also, I continued as a management consultant in this career. Of course, I had a 1-year startup stint of my own, where I, along with one of my friends, had a startup of our own, and there were 2 startups that I was trying out there at that time. One of them didn't work out. I lost some money, but in another case, we were able to scale it up to a decent level. And then I came back to consulting industry around that. That's about me. Let's quickly start off. So as I said, congratulations, but guys, I know, I remember my time, the inauguration time, where we were able to meet the folks or our classmates for the first time. It was quite energetic, excitement. You guys are doing it virtual, but that doesn't mean that your tempos or your mojo should be on a lower side. Remain positive, remain excited. This is one of the finest days of your career that you are able to now enter into a B school or a premium B school of the country, and one of the best B schools of the country here. So keep your enthusiasm, keep your motivation high. Let the pandemic should not back your spirits of taking this journey, taking this journey for you. Secondly, I think as you move forward, we just heard Preetha Reddy also mention about, you guys have to be adaptable. I think one of the biggest difference when I was just jotting down my thoughts as what should I be telling there, is that in our times, it was a complete full campus, everything was good. But in this environment, I think one of the biggest thing that you guys have to be is to adapt, to be a little bit very strong in adapting to this so-called different world that we have. It will change. I'm sure this pandemic should not last very long. It will eventually change, yes. But whatever time we have to spend, you have to be extremely adaptive and focused as well. As you embark this journey, you are all coming from a different background. Some of you have lost touch with your books, studies. Like I remember, with 7 years of experience when coming down, I have lost touch with writing actually. But sitting in that one place and having to interact and listen around that, all these things actually have lost those touch. But I think as we move in this journey, you have to again come back to that, very quickly adapt to this new change and start focusing on the right things there. The best takeaways in my experience were actually the fundamentals here. The B schools will help, IIM Bangalore will help you gain those kind of fundamentals, and that is what perhaps you should be focusing on. Question yourself, challenge yourself that are you getting the depth of the right fundamentals? The profs are there to help. The case studies or the material that's phenomenally good, equally good. but it's you who have to push yourself to ask that whether I have really got the depth, whether I really got the right content, whether I really got the right fundamentals in place, which I can apply anywhere I want. In fact, I would even say that, for example, let's make it real instead of just saying that apply these fundamentals. One of the things that we tried out during our in our classroom is that we all come from different backgrounds. So whenever a new, as part of the classroom or as part of the project groups, we used to just reflect or ask ourselves that, okay, what is that what is the thing that we have learned today applicable in our respective industry? I was fortunate to have some very smart people in my group, somebody out and out coming from a public sector, somebody coming from an IT industry, somebody coming from a retail garment industry. So if we're able to apply that apply those knowledge here based into our industry and cross-pollinate, that's a very good learning of learning here and able to apply that. You can see really in real life, how does those concepts apply in a retail setup, in an IT setup, in any other setup for that matter. That to me is an equally good learning that you could have as compared to what you read, as compared to what you get in the class as well. So leverage both of them to ensure that you have the learnings and the applications part as well around there. The next part, which I would say is, the next part I would say is that there is, I don't know how things will come up in the new section there. Don't just do the CP for the sake of CP there. I mean, there are very logical, you all have come from a rich experience. Apply that CP, apply those things for this, apply it in your own organization and then ask those questions. We all have been there. I think the profs are also there. They have also studied in a similar fashion like we have. Apply that into your industry and then ask those questions. Apply it into a real sense and then ask those questions to get the true value of that class or that program. That is perhaps one of the most important thing. Perhaps you should be going ahead with that. Next, I would further say is that this campus is a beautiful campus. I mean, I don't know when will you guys reach out to the campus, but overall this campus, the program is a fantastic program. I'm sure as you step ahead, being part of this IIM Bangalore fraternity, a lot of other activities starts to come into you. Don't just be with with the books or the classes only. There are multiple other things that happens in IIM Bangalore. Be part of that. Be there. Be a part of the integral part of that. Be a part of that IIM Bangalore family, rather than just being in a cocoon of, okay, I'm EPGP, let me just stay here. I think that helps multiple fold. Your network. Definitely your network increases when you interact with PGP or PGP or PGSEM or other programs that are around there. Secondly, it helps you being a little bit more bond. You get more connected with the institute around there. Your network increases, your knowledge increases, your connections that you're building up, those things start increasing around there. Last but not least, it's a fun place. I mean, you definitely need a fun part. So I'm sure there are a lot of things that happen in IIM Bangalore, given how things are. It may be possible that they may come online, or we find IIM Bangalore finds some better ways to come around that. But do take part in those activities, as that would help you a lot. It's not just for a resume value, but for other parts as well. Next, I would say as part of IIMB, something which I take a lot of pride is actually Prayas and Vikas. I think we all have a huge amount of experience. We come with about good quality experience, and that's why we are at IIM Bangalore. When we came down, I think Prayas was one of the key things that we take a lot of pride, and we contributed heavily. I think in this time, Prayas and Vikas now, these are the two very important levers driven by the students' body of IIM Bangalore to make an impact to the society, to give something back to the society. So do actually have a look at that. I think that's one of the best part I realized from IIM Bangalore as being a student body. It's a phenomenal thing. We are really able to make the impact. We made IIM Bangalore proud with that. This is something which you should also take it up as part of your journey at IIM Bangalore. See guys, definitely, I mean, you all are mature, you all have seen, you all have worked here. But also just remember that as you definitely evolve in this journey, in this IIM Bangalore one-year program, as you learn new things, you also have to ensure that you unlearn some of the older parts as well. I think during our time, it was a joke there that you have to unlearn quickly to relearn, unlearn, relearn. That's the cycle that you have to follow that up. Don't have your historical past biases influence this learning around that. Come with a very open mind, an open slate and an open mind. Listen to your profs, listen to your colleagues there, reflect upon what you have learned, what you have seen from those guys, and then try to frame opinion and then try to frame a perspective around that. Remove those biases, and that's one of the biggest hindrances in learning from IIM Bangalore. Next, see guys, this is a tough time. We all know it's an unprecedented time, frankly, for us. You have to invest in a future for yourself. It's not going to be a cakewalk. We don't know how things shape up after. Frankly, we don't know. How things shape up after next month. Forget about after 6 months or 1 year. So you have to create a future for yourself. You have to push yourself. You have to create a competitive advantage for yourself. Frankly, you all have certain spikes. That's why you are here at IIM Bangalore. I happen to have interviewed some of you as well. So we noticed that these are the differentiating factors that make this candidate stand out. But again, now you have to work in this 1 year very hard to find out that differentiator for yourself, so that you can, after the campus, can pursue your dreams, pursue your aspirations around that. I think I remember one time when I was in campus, we conducted, after second term, before flying out for the immersion, we conducted a consulting conclave, and we invited some of the top consulting firms. And we had a principal from McKinsey, his name was Sameer Shetty, and somebody asked him a question that, what does it take to be a successful consultant around that, and why and how can we be a successful consultant? I think he gave a very solid answer, and I think I still remember that answer here, is that it's you who have to tell why you are a different person, what additional things you bring to a table, to an organization, to anywhere for that matter, so that we pick you up and help you succeed in that organization. So it's not just the campus only, but you have to think about yourself, that what are my differentiator, what are my strengths, that in this times, how can I differentiate myself, how can I create an opportunity myself, and step up, be it in the coursework or be it post the MBA around that, and use it smartly, effectively to pursue your careers or aspirations post MBA. That is what I think you have to work upon that on this. The next part I would touch upon is around as you graduate here, as you graduate after a year, you would be becoming, either, depending on your experience, some folks would be at a managerial level, some folks would be at a leadership level. In this time, I think in this time, what we have to work around is that it's not just the knowledge. So you have definitely the solid foundational knowledge around the courseworks, about all the electives, about all the core works, everything would be there with you. But it's not that may not be enough. That is something which you have to marry your past experience to, and of course, any new things that you end up with, be it your online courses, be it anything on the INSEAD or anything on Coursera, whatever you end up learning around that, you have to have a package around that so that you perform things in a better way. In this world, I personally don't see that the traditional part is you can just solve things just in traditional way. This generation of yours, you guys are actually, to me, translators, where you bring in the business knowledge that you learn from a B school or apply it based on your past experience, and the new technological advancements that are there with us. And I think these MBA folks, you MBA folks, or you graduates are actually the right folks who can be these translators, these technology translators, who understands the business, who understands the technology, and they can marry both to create an impact, not just for the society, not just for the organization, but for themselves as well. In this world where we are surrounded with these fancy new terms of digital, IoT, blockchain, and various others, machine learnings, and so on and so forth, it is up to you. How do you use these technology? How do you use these technological interventions to realize the business values? You have learned something on the business. There are these technologies. You've learned something about business at your B school, your past experience. These technologies are available in the market at free space. It's your job, how effectively, as a good manager on the ground, to marry these three, four things or around these things and create an impact for yourself and for the organization. The next part, as a manager in this challenging time, frankly, going alone may not be the best particular option. Generations like yours eventually, in my view, would have to collaborate together to solve these problems around that. So as you see in your in IIM Bangalore, of course, you all would have worked in the teams, but further strengthen your team bonding or team working spirits there. We cannot just stand alone. Gone are the days, given this difficult times. I really doubt whether two entrepreneurs can just stand up and come up with something around that. Yes, of course, there are exceptions. You can do that. But I think further hone up your collaboration skills. These are the skills which can help you in this difficult times, during this time, or even post MBA as well. Abhishek, or thank you. All right, thank you so much. So these are the things, this collaboration attitude. Alone, you won't be able to solve neither your organizational problems nor the society problems. It is this collaboration which will help you take far. So just to summarize, definitely leverage try to be that translator as a manager when you learn the knowledge of, when you have a knowledge of what you receive at IIM Bangalore. There are quite a few technologies. There are quite a few other knowledge sources available there. Don't stop your knowledge only here. Learn to have some additional things. There are various other courses which are available, which you think, which sharpen up your proposition, your differentiator. Go ahead with that. It is this combination, it is this assets that you have that will differentiate you out as a manager, even or even post MBA as well, right? Secondly, as I said, collaboration. Learn, fight hard, work hard to collaborate, because eventually in these times, it's not the individuals, but the collaborative power which will come and help solve that problems for us. Next, as I move forward, there are definitely, as you become leaders in these organizations, when you grow up, when you move on to, let's say, have a leadership positions, I'm sure all of you would eventually in no time will become leaders in your respective organization and respective industries. There are a few things definitely you will do right, be it like taking along people with you, having the right leadership, providing mentorship. How can you grow the next generation of leaders under you? I'm sure you will do all that. However, I'll say focus on two important things. First, given these times, the focus on ethics. Many a times we just just ignore this part of ethics. Even there would be a course of, during my time, there was a course of ethics as well in Bangalore. I'm sure that would be now as well. It's one of the most important aspects here. As a leader, you need to be projected or coming across as the most ethical, renowned person there. You carry a brand, not just for yourself, but also for the institute as well. Anything wrongdoing gives a bad name, not just to you, but the entire, I would say the entire journey or your entire background actually. So that is one of the most important thing that I would say as a good leader, you should ensure about the ethics that you bring there. Be it your work ethics, be it any ethics that your personal ethics, do bring them over, bring them around as you become a leader in those organizations there. The next part around here definitely is to give it something back to the society. In this difficult times, we're seeing pandemic here, we're seeing a difficult times around here. I would say definitely work as a leader or learn up those skills to how you can give something back to the society. It's not just about some rupee values coming around. Look back into your organization. Each of you or your organizations have something different. And in this pandemic, you can contribute in a different way or in a meaningful way to the society around there. That's a mark or a hallmark of a good leader. And then perhaps this is a hallmark of a leader originated from IIM Bangalore. That is what you should be thinking about that. Last few definite points around, I personally believe that a good leader would definitely be having the right amount of mentorship. He or she should be able to groom the next generation of leaders. There are definitely courses around strategic leadership, which you'll enjoy in your coursework. But I think my course, in fact, the best case that I had was around how do you groom your next leaders, next generation of leader. Furthermore, as a good leader, I think one of the important aspects which you should also learn here, and I like to practice when you become managers or eventually or immediately after your job, is how do you resolve conflict. There's a very good course that we have with IIM Bangalore about strategic leadership. And my favorite case actually was the Cuban Missile Crisis, in which how John F. Kennedy actually diffuses the entire Cuban Missile Crisis without even shooting a bullet or without even having any fight with. It was just minor skirmish that happened, but no fights around that. That's a beautiful example of how you deliver, how do you resolve a super complicated complex without getting into without firing a bullet there. How do you resolve conflict is another hallmark of being a good leader. So definitely, as you guys embark this journey around becoming a graduate from IIM Bangalore and hopefully a good managers and leaders in the forward, these are the things that I see that you should be looking for and you should be seeing through this. And all of this, by the way, is something which you will see in your campus there. It's up to you. What do you absorb? What do you take? And how do you apply it in your real life? That would eventually differentiates you in the next 5 or 7 years with the mock. That is what the key differentiator. And in fact, that is what my advice would also be. You work on that and create a differentiator spot for yourself. So that's pretty much from my side, class of 2021. Once again, congratulations. And surely, as I said, there is no reason for you guys to frown or be upset. I think it's a situation, so be it. But I think you all are smart enough. You will overcome all this and definitely come back even stronger. Every time we have seen that our subsequent batches have been smarter and stronger and effective, I'm sure you guys will be no different around that. With that, everyone, let me just take a pause here. Being a consultant, unfortunately, I just keep talking and talking. But let me just take a pause here. If you guys have any questions, comments, happy to take them, please.
So I think we have a little time for taking questions, and he is open to answering questions. Any of you can ask questions. Other than asking, you will give me a job. Anything other than that?
Yeah, I think you won't be. Don't worry about it. You all will do well. Don't worry.
Yes.
Focus on other things. Things will fall in place.
Yeah, hi Rajat. Thanks for that insightful talk. I think we connected before also regarding my EP admission, and to be honest, your advice definitely helps. So just taking one more of your advice and just a little bit more there. So you mentioned don't let your past biases affect things. So more in terms of, while that's definitely something one can keep in mind, but how do you make it actionable? Something from your experience in terms of more actionable steps we can take in this direction?
See, definitely. Though I said two things, is definitely don't let these past biases come in front of your knowledge. See, in my view, if I were to make it real, let's take up an example. I give a good example, I have a colleague during my case group. I had a CA in my class, and he used to ask a lot of these questions around accounts and all that. So he has some of these questions there. One advice that he also then followed, that let me just contextualize it and see I may be wrong here. So instead of having a very hard attitude that no, what I learned or I've been doing for last 15 years or 10 years, it's absolutely right. Let's have a more softer attitude that, okay, this is my viewpoint, professor, or guys, this is my viewpoint. Critique me in a healthy manner, correct me if I'm wrong around that. So have that soft approach, but do bring that perspective to the class, do bring that perspective to the group discussions. That's important there. But have a more, I would say, a fungible attitude, or softer attitude, which can be molded for, in a different direction if required. It can be possible you may be doing something in a suboptimal way in your previous life, and that's where you are. So have a softer attitude rather than a hard attitude that this is what I've been doing and this is right. All right, guys. Anything else? Any other questions? Any concerns? Any nervous feelings? That's where I'm here from. And when I talked to Professor Narayan Swami, he said that talk to the guys as well. Let's open it, make it interactive. Let them open up. So, guys, go ahead. It's your chance. I mean, come on. I was a consultant. I'm a consultant. I could have spoken for another 45 minutes. That's what my job is.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I can hear.
Hello, I am Rohan. Thank you so much for the welcome note and the advice and suggestions that you gave right now. In one point, you mentioned that try to apply whatever you are learning to daily life and industries during this one-year course. So can you please brief or give more insights about how to apply those learnings during the course to daily life and industries?
Sure. So I'll give an example here. So in one of the marketing course, so our course was around, we were going through pricing. Pricing was a chapter there actually. And I think after the midterm it was there. And I had done a project of pricing in my previous life. So I applied some price elasticity. So I was pretty comfortable there. But I think the professor there actually taught few more things about the value-based pricing. Until that, I have no clue about that, what value-based pricing is. When I actually reflected on that particular project of mine, and I realized that, yes, there were two more things I could have done. Definitely, there were few expensive or good quality products in which you can actually do a value-based pricing. And furthermore, even the elasticity part, the cost-effective part that I'm trying to make there, I could have made it more robust there. There were better techniques I could have leveraged it. So it's an example I'm trying to give to answer your question, is that this is how you have to relate to your work and to the coursework that you are seeing there. This is the best way around, because otherwise you're just learning new things in that limited environment. Try to expand that horizon into what work you have done. You will find it easier to learn, easier to absorb, and easier to apply. Because see, you guys have done that for the last 5, 6 years, 7 years, whatever. So if you try to apply in that context, it's really easier for you to understand and of course become better at that. That is an example I have done, example I gave to apply to answer that question.
Once again, I want to thank Rajat Mathur for his taking time off, a very busy time, I guess. Working away from office is more difficult than working from office. That's what all of us are realizing. So I'm sure you have a lot of commitments now, and thanks again for coming over and then participating in this event. And your words were reassuring to them, because it's these are not exactly nice times. So you're saying that you can do something still good and then come back. I think this must be a very nice thing for them to hear. So thanks once again. So I hand over to Shilpa to complete the rest of the function.
Thanks, Rajat, for joining us, and we are grateful that you could take some time off today, and we know these are challenging times. And I guess your words also, like Professor Narayan Swamy said, are reassuring, and I guess students would have gained a lot from that. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Shilpa. Thank you for having me, everyone. Thank you so much.